Have you ever just looked up at the night sky and wondered, where did all of this come from? I don't just mean the stars and the planets, but, well, us. Today, we're going to take a trip back in time, a cosmic journey to find out where we really come from. We're about to dive into the amazing chemistry of space. So let's get personal for a second. What are you actually made of? And no, I'm not talking about cells or tissues, but the basic, fundamental atoms that make you, you. The answer is way more incredible than you can probably imagine. You've probably heard the famous astronomer Carl Sagan say, "We are made of star stuff." And you know what? That's not just some beautiful poetry, it's literally true. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen you're breathing in right this second, it was all cooked up in the heart of a star. But how? To really get it, we have to go way back, to the very beginning. Okay, try to picture the universe just moments after the Big Bang. It was incredibly hot, unbelievably dense, and chemically, well, really, really boring. There were no stars, no galaxies, and definitely no people. The whole universe was basically a blank slate with just two main ingredients. In those very first few minutes, the universe was like a giant nuclear reactor. As it started to expand and cool down, protons and neutrons tried to get together and fuse. But there was this little problem called the deuterium bottleneck. It was just so hot that any new atomic cores that formed got blasted apart instantly. It wasn't until about the 3-minute mark, when things had cooled down just enough that the very first stable atoms could finally stick together. And that moment set the recipe for the entire early universe. And here's what that recipe looked like. About 75% hydrogen, 25% helium, and that's pretty much it. Oh, and the teeniest little sprinkle of lithium. So if this is all we started with, it begs a huge question. Where did everything else on the periodic table even come from? Well, the answer finally arrived with the birth of the very first stars. You see, these stars weren't just pretty lights in the sky. They were massive cosmic kitchens. Gravity started pulling all that hydrogen and helium together into these giant clouds, which eventually ignited, becoming the first stellar forges. And they started cooking up something totally new. The official term for this is stellar nucleosynthesis. It's basically how stars make their energy. By smashing lighter elements together under insane amounts of heat and pressure, they create heavier elements. The core of a star is pretty much the only place in the universe where this kind of cosmic alchemy can happen. Now, stars have a couple of different ways of doing their first big trick, which is turning hydrogen into helium. It all depends on how big they are. Smaller stars, kind of like our own sun, use a pretty straightforward method called the proton-proton chain. But the really massive hot stars, they use a much fancier process called the CNO cycle, which uses carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen to really speed things up. So once a star has a belly full of helium, it has to get creative to make the next element up, carbon. And this is where it gets really cool. It's this delicate little dance called the triple alpha process. First, 2 helium nuclei fuse to make a super unstable atom of beryllium. Then, in the tiniest fraction of a second, before that beryllium atom falls apart, a 3rd helium nuclei has to slam into it. It's this ridiculously precise timing that creates carbon. You know, the building block for all life as we know it. No big deal. And once a star has figured out how to make carbon, a whole universe of possibilities opens up. It can start adding more helium nuclei to make oxygen, and then from there it can build neon, magnesium, and so on, just stepping its way up the periodic table, creating all the good stuff you need for rocky planets and complex life. But this element-making party can't last forever. For the biggest stars out there, the factory eventually hits a wall. It reaches a point of no return, where the laws of physics are about to take a very, very dramatic turn. As a really massive star gets old, it develops these amazing layers inside, just like an onion. At the very core, you've got the heaviest element the star has managed to create, surrounded by shells of lighter and lighter elements, each layer still fusing and burning away. This beautiful, layered structure is basically the star's final act. And what's at the very center of that onion? Iron. Now here's the kicker. Up until this point, every fusion reaction has released energy. That's the force that's been holding the star up against its own crushing gravity. But when you try to fuse iron, it doesn't release energy, it actually consumes it. Iron is the ultimate stellar ash. The star's engine just dies. And when that happens, gravity wins. This catastrophic collapse triggers one of the most violent events in the entire universe, a supernova. And yeah, it's the death of a star. But you can also think of it as a cosmic payday, because it's about to scatter all of those newly made elements across the galaxy for everyone to share. In less than a second, the iron core collapses, bounces back, and sends a shockwave of unimaginable power blasting out through the star. The whole thing is just ripped apart in what we call a core collapse supernova. It's an explosion so bright it can actually outshine its entire home galaxy. And it's this explosion that seeds the cosmos with all the elements necessary for life. All that material from the supernova enriches what scientists call the interstellar medium. That's stuff that looks like empty space between the stars. Over billions of years, generations of stars are born, they live, they die, and they enrich this medium even more, turning it into the raw material for the next generation of stars and planets. But hold on a minute. If stars can only make elements up to iron, where do the heavier things come from? I'm talking about gold, platinum, uranium, all that good stuff. For those, we need something even more extreme, even more chaotic than the death of a single star. See, to build elements heavier than iron, you can't just fuse them. You have to bombard existing atoms with neutrons. There are two ways to do it. The S process, or slow process, happens in some aging stars, and it can make elements like lead. But to get the really heavy treasures like gold, you need the R process, a rapid and incredibly violent flood of neutrons that can only happen in the most extreme cosmic collisions. So that's the big question, right? What kind of event is so unbelievably powerful that it can unleash the torrent of neutrons needed for this R process? The conditions you need are just almost impossible to imagine. We're talking about a neutron density of around 10,000 billion neutrons, packed into a space the size of a sugar cube. That's a number so huge, it kind of breaks your brain. There's only one place we know of in the entire universe that can create that kind of environment. The collision of two neutron stars. These are the super dense cores that get left behind after a supernova. When two of these cosmic zombies orbiting each other for millions of years finally spiral in and smash together, the resulting explosion is the universe's ultimate precious metals factory. And that's it. That's the final piece of our cosmic puzzle. It's in these split-second, unbelievably violent mergers that most of the universe's gold, platinum, and other heavy elements are forged, and then blasted out into space, ready to be swept up into the next generation of planets just like Earth. So from the simple recipe of the Big Bang to the fiery hearts of stars, their explosive deaths, and the epic collisions of their remains, the universe has been getting more and more complex. The very atoms that make you, have been on one heck of a journey. Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Every one of these cosmic explosions seeds the next generation. So, what new worlds are being built from stardust right now?